welcome, black and white photographers. It's good to have you listening again. I guess that's what I would say. I had a recent podcast on the Black Place, Farmington, New Mexico, and let's see, and another interesting place which was called Angel Peak. But today I thought I would provide you with a podcast on something that's becoming more and more prevalent in photography these days, and that's composite images. If you're unfamiliar with what composite images are, they're images that they could be taken in all different places. They're assembled, they're put together, and you come out with a photograph. And so I had an interesting conversation with a very good friend of mine that's a great local photographer. The conversation centered around the use of composite images in photography. Now, I am one to believe that very little manipulation should be done in photography, and that is probably from my old darkroom days where manipulation was rather limited, certainly more limited than today. And apparently my friend went to one of her camera club competitions, and a highly manipulated composite won the day. And I said to her, do you think that's fair in your competitive environment that a photograph that was really made up, won the best picture? I said that composite photographs were going down a slippery slope and are really almost becoming paintings. She was of the opinion that even if it had been a manipulated photo, it was still a photograph. And my opinion was it's becoming more like artwork than a photograph. Whoever could do the best manipulation won the contest. Or if you stop to think about it, whoever could put the best paint on a canvas wins the contest or winds up in a gallery or wherever. And consequently, if you were competing, which I really don't do anymore, that even makes it more difficult. And I'm talking about competing in camera photo clubs or just about anywhere that you have photos there, and you're pairing them off one against the other, et cetera, et cetera. Composites are here to stay because it is so easy to do in Photoshop or any other manipulating software. So composites are not going away, but you got to ask yourself, where do they fit? Should the photographer tell you that it's a composite before you look at it? Or when you look at it, will you realize it's a composite? Maybe. My concern was that those people that do better in photographic manipulation will succeed. And I'm talking about these camera club competitions. In other words, if you can pair an image from, let's say, an African safari, and then take one where you're 3,000 miles away and you bring that image in, you bring another image in, and then you bring the Milky Way in and yada, yada. And so then you've got a complete image, and you pass it off as a photograph, but you've really got maybe 5 or 10 or 15 different images. And if I were in these camera club competitions, I don't know if I would feel that this was really the kind of thing I wanted to compete against. Now, in the normal viewing at a gallery, let's say a gallery or Paris Photo, hope that you would realize that a photographer is using a composite technique. And maybe that's their style. And the style is beautiful, and they take different portraits together, or they take different landscapes together, and you say, that is a great composite photograph, knowing that's their style and technique. And I think that's perfectly fine. But what I would worry about is if someone told me that Ansel Adams was using composites, I would be disappointed. And I think most photographers that know Ansel Adams would be. Now, he dodged and he burned and he did all of those techniques that we used to do back in the darkroom days. But he didn't do the manipulation that we're seeing today. Moonrise Hernandez was manipulated with, different kinds of paper, dodging and burning, et cetera, et cetera. But he didn't move things around, didn't move the moon around, didn't move the house around to get a better look. What you saw there was his photograph, and consequently, you know that he took it, you know that he didn't manipulate it. So maybe, and this is a thought going forward, you might want to put some comments below. So maybe what's necessary is to look at what the photographer is attempting to achieve with the technique that they use. If they use a composite technique and it works and they let you know it's a composite, I think that's great. However, if it's a straight shot, I think you should realize that the photographer will tell you, hey, this is a straight shot. Yeah, well, I've dodged and burned a little bit in the digital darkroom, but no big deal. Anyway, like your thoughts on the subject, you can subscribe to this podcast or you can subscribe to this YouTube video. Take care and have a great, great day.